Hello students, today I am going to talk about The Unknown Citizen by Wystan Hugh Auden or W.H. Auden. This poem is to give you a break from your normal syllabus poems that you generally read, and I hope you will like this poem as it is a modern poem that will take you to a different realm altogether. So without much ado, I will begin with the poem at the outset, and before I start on with the very lines of the poem, I would like to give you a few background information which I'm sure would help you to understand the poem in a better way. The poem The Unknown Citizen was written at a turning point in Auden's life when he left for the United States. He left USA from Europe because he was horrified at Hitler's invasion of Europe in 1939. He moved to America to broaden his artistic output. As a poet, the human condition was his main focus, as we see here, not only in these few lines that I'm going to explain, but also in the subsequent parts and the videos. You will understand that his main focus is the human condition. The speaker in the poem, The Unknown Citizen, is a bureaucrat identified by numbers and letters only. It reflects the bureaucracy under which the citizen served. The speaker is talking about the citizen, the nameless, faceless citizen, which the citizen served, the bureaucracy which the citizen served. The poem reminds us very strongly that the state, the government, the bureaucracy that we all help create can become a faceless, indifferent, and often a cruel machine. The poem serves as an excellent starting point for debates about society and individual's role within the system, how that individual should behave, whether he or she should take any sides, whether he should exercise his views, or anything for that matter. This poem appeared in the collection titled Another Time in 1940, and it reveals the satirical portrait of an unknown citizen, someone who represents the satirical portrait of an unknown citizen, someone who represents an average man without any proper identity. The poem appears to protest against a world in which systems in the scientific data fail to capture the human quality of life, and mass organizations and commercial exploitation that attempt to obliterate, to remove the originality within the humankind. The tone of the poem is impersonal and clinical. The speaker is likely a bureaucrat with a detached view of the faceless bureaucracy, and here he is talking of the bureaucracy that may arise in any country with any type of government, be it left wing or the right wing government. Okay, so now we are starting off with the poem. The Unknown Citizen, as we understand from the title itself, is about someone who lacks identity. It begins with an ironic epigraph, something that is written on the very tombstone of the person who is dead. And it tells that 2JS, then there is a slash, 07M378, again a slash, and this marble monument is erected by the state. So there is not even a personal touch at the very beginning of the poem. So we understand how ironic and how dry the modern life or the life of that unknown citizen was or is. He was found by the Bureau of Statistics to be one against whom there was no official complaint, and all the reports on his conduct agree that, in the modern sense of an old-fashioned word, he was a saint, for in everything he did, he served the greater community. He here refers to the citizen. The very first line refers to the ironic tone of the very ironic tone in the opening lines is struck, and we understand that the entire poem will be written with a lot of irony that will be expressed in between the lines. The institutions, Bureau of Statistics and the greater community, as you see, I have marked as A and B, show the instances where the reader comes to know of the facts from these, and from these means the Bureau of Statistics and the greater community and other fictional dystopian sounding organizations, how they used to exercise power. Another organization you will come across later is the Fudge Motors Incorporated. They have a huge influence. Okay, one against whom there was no official complaint. The average citizen whom the speaker is referring to, or about whom the speaker is narrating in a very detached tone, the average citizen is strangely familiar to us, because though we do not at the very outset are quite able to understand or are able to connect with the poet's lines, with the poet's description of the citizen, yet we understand slowly that he appears to be quite familiar. The appearance, the identity, or our existence, we find it quite similar to our existence, where it is it does not matter what name we carry, or what is our identity, what our dreams or hopes are. If we are incorporated in an institution, we are supposed to work and follow that institution, against whom there was no official complaint. So the citizen worked in an institution where he did not get any complaint, where the institution did not have any complaint against him. And all the reports on his conduct agree that in the modern sense of an old-fashioned word, he was a saint. So it is a very oxymoron, modern sense of old-fashioned word. But it is in this juxtaposition or in this contrast, the readers very well understand what the poet Auden is trying to tell. How contradictory, how difficult, how ironic modern life is, or the life of a bureaucrat is who is working in a faceless, nameless organization. How do we understand this? That he was a saint. He was a saint. It is important because in the old-fashioned sense of the word, or in the traditional sense of the word, it means it has a spiritual identity, it has a spiritual aspect, someone who is able to solve the problems. But in the modern sense of the term, it denotes a person who has a personality, who has a pristine and a spotless personality. As you see, I have mentioned here also, someone who has a spotless and pristine personality. In that way, he is a saint. And the modern and the old-fashioned words, therefore, are used together in this poem together to highlight his personality. For in everything he did, he served the greater community. This greater community that he served probably denotes the greater good. Though it is at this very 11 lines of the poem, though it is not very clear what the poet is trying to convey by this greater community, eventually we will see as we reach the latter half of the poem, how the citizen is trying to serve the greater community without complaining, without speaking any odds, without having some different views. So here, from this line itself, the detailing of the citizen's life begins. Except for the war, till the day he retired, he worked in a factory and never got fired. So there was no occasion on which he missed his working of the days in that particular institution, except the war, the great fight where he had to take part, and the day he retired. The day of his retirement and the day there was the declaration of the war and he partook in the war, these were the 2 days in which he had missed his office, as we should refer here in this poem. He worked in a factory and never got fired. So in this factory that he worked, in the office that he worked, he never got fired. So we understand that in the previous line, the days that he missed, those were according or abiding by the rules of the factory itself. If the factory officials, the higher authorities ordered him to go to the war, he went to the war. And the day he retired, that was also following the official decorum. So we understand that he did nothing beyond the official rules and regulations or the orders of the higher authorities, but satisfied his employers, Fudge Motors Incorporated. So it was his great urge, probably his great urge to keep his employers satisfied. Where did he work? The Fudge Motors Incorporated. It was a very powerful organization that had powers to exercise or dictate the social norms. It can control how the working of this particular citizen can go on, and this line also underscores how the average citizen's life is. Average here denotes that not happy, neither sad, and in the modern life it moves on to the extent to denote that a person who is average is happy, is satisfied, but he does not have any opinion. He cannot exercise his own views. He only works by the official orders and the official institutions, as we see by this time that it has been constantly referred to in this poem. Yet he wasn't a scab or odd in his views. Even though he worked in such a powerful company, even though he kept his employers satisfied, he did not even exercise or utter any different views. He was not a trouble to anyone because he did not have any odd views. He was eager to conform to that which was given. These lines stress the scientific approach. These lines means, yet he wasn't a scab or odd in his views, and for his union reports that he paid his dues. These two lines suggest the scientific approach to understanding a man, an approach deeply layered as the union's report investigated, so that another report is generated. The report generated is the line that the poet has written within the bracket. So in these 11 lines, we find that the speaker is narrating in a matter of fact way. The report, it is a kind of a report of the citizen that who is in question. Yet we understand that through these lines, these last two lines, we understand that slowly the poet is trying to give the readers a scientific approach to the poem, the scientific approach to the understanding of the citizen's personality or character, because we do not know his name, we do not know his personality, or we do not know his loved ones. So what he is basically up to can probably be understood by the detailing of the scientific approach. Our report in this union shows that he was sound. So the report that is generated clearly shows that it is a scientific approach to the understanding of his personality. You will note that the detailing of these lines is highly ironic, for it deliberately exaggerates. While at the same time it undercuts the validity of the scientific model and moves it into the realm of ridiculousness, because such detailing, such precise detailing, such irony in the usage of the words, because there is not much depth in these lines. There are not too many words, there are not too many lines where there are too many inner meanings. The very words stare very blankly at our face, and we understand, and these blank staring of the words makes us realize how crude, how dry the life of the modern man who is working in the bureaucracy is. So in the latter half we will see how this the life of this person is moving from from this union where the scientific study has been carried on to another realm where there is a mention of the social psychology. And another thing that you will notice here is that as the speaker is going about his job, his lack of inflection while narrating the story, or the narrating the facts, or relaying the facts of the citizen, is made up for the rhymes which are pervasive in his speech. This is in this report-like speech, it is very prevalent. We understand from these lines that it was Auden's goal in this poem to present the words of the dystopian narrator. Means he does not have any positive aspect or positive view of the world, and it is exactly in tune to the rhyme, because this poem is a deviation from the normal rhyming or the romantic pattern where that we see in most of the poems, and this contrast is quite forceful, as you will understand throughout the poem. Another thing that I would like to refer is that the irony between the title and the goal is the goal of the verses. The very irony in each and every line, how explicit the detail the report is, but ironically we do not get any detail of regarding the personality of the personality of the citizen. He is only identified just as numbers, or neither his name, neither his loved and near ones, nothing is mentioned. We see that in these last few lines that I'm going discussing today, that the man did as he was told. He also paid his union dues. He was on time with his payments, and he was not strange in any way. Means there was nothing odd or surprising about his personality, and that is what makes it striking, even more striking for an average person, because that is how we generally visualize him. And he was on time without payments. As I was saying, he was on time without payments, without being strange. He did not believe in anything, did not participate in anything except the war, which was again according to the official orders, and he did not do anything that went against the tenets of the dystopian feeling world. So probably he was familiar, and he loved this dystopian feeling that his world presented. He was not only good at his work, he was also popular with his friends. They were social, completely normal, and one might point out that this total normalcy that filled in his person's life is something that is too good to be true, and this arouses in our minds, that is the reader's mind, a little bit of suspicion that how can everything move on so perfectly. There is something beyond it. There is probably something beyond this identification, beyond this following or conforming to the rules and the norms, between this embracing of the dystopian feeling. And what is it that makes us move on to the next lines of the poems? And for these next lines of the poems, you do have to stay tuned to my channel, One Stop All Poetry Solution. I hope you like this video. Do stay tuned, because the second part is coming soon. And don't forget to like and share. And if you have any doubts or want to comment, please do feel free to comment in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. Help spread love and knowledge. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.